Hello, readers and writers. I am Anthony L. Manna, otherwise known as Professor Grandpa Tonio, the book guy and the writing guy. Today, I'm going to share with you a story that I co-wrote with Semolina-Semolinus, my Greek friend, and the story is called The Orphan, a Cinderella story from Greece. It's a folk tale, a very old story told among the folks in Greece for many, many generations. The Orphan, a Cinderella story from Greece by Anthony L. Manna and Semolina-Mitakidou. One time in Greece, there lived a mother, a father, and their daughter. Never had a girl been cared for with such tenderness. The mother tended to her every need, bathing her in musk-scented water, combing her long, dark hair with an ivory comb, and singing her to sleep in a bed of down. Comfortable, huh? And there's the orphan, or Cinderella, however you want to call her, with her mother. Then her life takes a change. When the girl was still young, cruel fate took the mother's life and left the poor child an orphan. For as people say in Greece, a child becomes an orphan when she loses her mother. The orphan's father soon took a new wife, a cruel woman who had two spoiled daughters. Upon her own girls, the woman lavished countless treasures. Upon the orphan, she lavished nothing but grief. So hateful was she that she counted every drop of water the orphan was allowed to drink. One night, the poor orphan fled to her mother's grave. Throwing herself on the ground, she cried, "Oh, mother, dear mother, listen to my plea. A stranger tries to take your place, but does not care for me. Her daughters call me sister now, but are heartless as can be. Oh, mother, dear mother, I beg you, set me free." At once the grave trembled, and the mother's voice rose from the earth. "Go, my child, go to good, with all my blessings go. Your sorrow weighs upon my heart, your pain, it wounds me so. Go, my child, go to good. Don't cry and don't despair. Go home, my soul, and wait to find true fortune's blessings there." There she is, with her mother at the grave. And so, holding close her mother's words, the orphan followed the moon's path home. The next day, as darkness dissolved, the orphan stepped outside to begin her chores. At once, Mother Nature and her children appeared in all their glory and showered her with gifts. The sun gave her brilliance, the moon beauty, the dawn bestowed gracefulness, and that was not all. The morning star let her wear the evening star as a wreath. The meadows gave her 3 beautiful dresses, and the sea a pair of delicate blue shoes to fit her tiny feet. After thanking them all, the orphan rushed inside and hid her treasures in a trunk. Hid her treasures in a trunk. Now, readers and writers, why do you think she would do that? Now, it so happened that the prince of the kingdom decided to attend the service at the village's church that very Sunday. "Imagine," declared the orphan's stepmother upon hearing the news, "if the prince is clear-eyed enough to be enraptured by my girl's beauty, he is sure to choose one for his bride." And at once she demanded that her husband hire the village's best tailors to make lavish gowns for herself and her 2 daughters. What did the father do? What could the father do? Why, he hired the village's best tailors to make 3 gowns, of course, one of brocade, one of damask, and one of pure silk. But still, the stepmother was not satisfied. Now she used her charm to convince her husband that she and the girls also needed fine jewels to wear. What did the father do? What could he do? Yes, he bought his wife a necklace of sapphires, one daughter a bracelet of red rubies, and the other a gleaming gold ring set with garnets. Come Sunday, as darkness dissolved, the stepmother ordered the orphan to find her stepsisters, to fix her stepsister's hair in the most elaborate styles of the day and dress them in the lavish new gowns. Then, like royalty, the girls and her mother paraded through the village. Once inside the church, they sashayed down the aisle and took their place close to the altar where a throne awaited the prince's arrival. There they are, on their way to the village church. Now what happens? Meanwhile, as soon as the orphan was alone, her mother's words came to her. "Go, my child, go to good. With all my blessings go. Your sorrows weigh upon my heart. Your pain, it wounds me so. Go, my child, go to good. Don't cry and don't despair. Go home, my soul, and wait to find true fortune's blessings there." Quickly, the orphan opened the trunk and pulled out Mother Nature's gifts. At the very bottom, she was surprised to find piles upon piles of gold coins. As her mother had once done for her, the orphan bathed herself in musk-scented water and combed her hair with an ivory comb. Then she put on her gown, stitched with flowers of the meadow, her wreath of the evening star, and her tiny shoes the color of the deep blue sea. Instantly, she became as brilliant as the sun, as beautiful as the moon, as graceful as the dawn. She dropped a handful of coins into her pocket. Then she stepped outside. Raising her hands, the orphan reached to the sky, and like that, a cloud fell at her feet and turned into a radiant white mare. The orphan mounted it and set off as quick as the wind for the village church. Along the way, her mother's voice spoke to her again, rustling through the trees. You must remember, my soul, to return home the minute the service ends, or all will be lost. What's going to happen next? Well, I'll stop there today and hope that I'll meet you again soon, and I'll read the next section of The Orphan. The Orphan can be found on Amazon.com, and of course, in your local library if you want to find a copy and read it to yourself, read it to your friends, etc. Fare thee well. I will talk to you, read to you soon. It's a folk tale, a very old story told among the folks in Greece for many, many generations. Storyteller after storyteller after storyteller, down through the years. And sometimes someone would come and write what the storyteller was saying in the story, and they would take it and they would save it somewhere. And sometimes what happened was it wound up in books like this. Now that's pretty thick. And that is a book that was published in England, and it's called 45 Stories from the Dodecanese. And the Dodecanese is an area in southern Greece. And so if you look into this book, you'll see that in all the stories, the 45 stories, that on the left side is the Greek, the story written down in Greek, and on the right side, translated into English. So how did Stool and I find the story? Well, we searched and we searched and we searched for a Cinderella, because we knew that among all the Cinderella stories that we found, there wasn't a Cinderella from Greece. And so we looked through many, many, many places, many books, many libraries, searching for our Cinderella, and we finally found her. Now, wait a minute. You mean Sewell and I just found this folk tale, this story, and we just simply wrote it down just as it was? Oh no, that's not the way it works. Because what happens is, when the story gets written down by someone somewhere in some village or some scholar or whoever, it is written in a language that is not very appealing to go inside of a picture book, let's say, like this one, or just any kind of retelling. Sometimes what you want to do is you want to retell it in your own language. You want to retell it in a lively language, and make it appealing. Because, for example, in the Dodecanese stories that I just showed you in that book there, the language is very formal, very not very appealing. And so Sewell and I took this Cinderella story, and we worked on it, worked on it, and worked on it. And those of you who are writers know what that means. I mean, it's a long, long process. Now you see there it says about our tale. See, what we do there is we tell you that our retelling of this tale, we mainly drew inspiration from two Greek versions. The storyline is roughly based on our translation of the Orphan's tale told by Vaskalaki, as found in the modern Greek folktale, from which we also took our title, from our translation of Loukas' version of the tale in modern Greek folktales. So in other words, we're telling you, you see, we took these stories, and then we go on and we say we decided to give our heroine the option to step out of the traditional role in which she waits patiently for her prince. So when you're retelling the story, you can retell it the way you want to. No one owns a folktale. It's what they call, it's in the public domain, meaning it's out for grabs. And that's why when you go to the library, you see so many retellings, as it were, of orphans from all over the world. So, having said that, having taken those rough stories, those stories that we took from other people, and they were good, but we wanted to do something different, as we say in our note to you. That's my introduction. And also, I want to tell you that when I'm reading today, I'm going to read part of the story, and then, I'll save the rest for another time that I get together with you. But what I want you to think about is, how could this girl here, whom we call the orphan, how could she be an orphan if her father is still alive and remarried? Well, keep alert, because the storytellers, Sula and Anthony, will reveal that to you. So we open with the end papers, and what's the first thing you see? Well, the illustrator, Giselle Potter, I should have mentioned her earlier, Giselle Potter gives you a hint about what's going to happen in the story right there, because we've got that white horse that looks like he's floating or flying through the sky.